everyone, welcome to the stream. Now, as I was just saying, like the starting soon screen, which obviously people in the future on YouTube didn't hear. But anyway, as I was just saying, so this is a very short stream. It was meant to start 20 minutes ago, and stuff came up that I had to deal with. I got a call from my mum, and there was stuff that I had to help her out with over the phone. And that needed sorting, stuff for like holiday things, because I am going to be away for the next couple of weeks, which is really nice. Yeah, so there was stuff to do with flights and seats and difficultness, and anyway, helped sort that out. It's all more or less sorted out now. But apologies for that regarding. I do have to dash off at 6 o'clock for the stream. I can't come away any later from that as well. So we're kind of limited as to options. But I am here now at least. So there's that. So how are you all doing? What have you all been up to? I understand, well, I mean, it's really warm here. Those of you in the UK probably have, and Europe in general, probably have big warm happening. Thank you so much for the sub, Cthulhin. A year and a half. Thank you so much for sticking around for that long. Yes, I know. It wasn't a good important call. It was a bad important call, but it was a bad important, you know, it's a problem, but it's a problem I've sort of sorted. But I needed to sort right then and there, otherwise we were going to be stuck. So now we're only a little bit stuck, but not bad stuck. Like, it's managed, at least. Thank you so much for the bits as well. That's really kind of you. Thank you. What kind of mods have you been releasing, Sakra? What mods? Give me, as Scarlett says, what are the mods? Give me the mods. Exactly. My timing is awesome. I'm from Scarlett. Scarlett says, "Hey Joseph, your timing is awesome. I'm nervous before a plan, so I can chill with everyone and you before." What kind of plan? What are you planning? Or is that a typo? Is it meant to say play? What's going on? Give me the deets. I would say don't be nervous, but someone saying don't be nervous to you when you're nervous isn't usually wildly helpful. It's like the command to feel better that you sometimes get if you're feeling poorly. Doesn't help massively, although the sympathy is nice, right? But yeah. So yeah, we've literally just got half an hour, which is very little. So I tell you what might be a good idea. Let's just have a little workshopping session of just workshopping some ideas. So I'm going to open up a Word document and I'm going to do a screen share, and we can just jot down all the good ideas that we have for, well, primarily for Lucien's Broomer patch, but we can also talk about wider ideas of other things, dialogue, things to comment on, features for version 1.7.0, any ideas, suggestions, things that you think are cool. And we can jot them down in a little doc. That can be a good way to use the time that we do have for the stream. So let's give that a go. So we're making the list right here. Now, Noon has jumped straight in with the word Dragonborn, and that is something I'm particularly keen to give Lucien commentary on, and it's something we're playing through in my playthrough, on my Skyrim Saturday playthrough at the moment. And I know Dawnguard tends to be higher in people's priority lists. Whenever I do votes and things on these things, people are always much more keen to have Lucien comment on Dawnguard than they are on Dragonborn, but the truth is, it's much, much easier for me to do commentary for Dragonborn than it is for Dawnguard, because you don't have the branching paths. So it's a much easier beast to wrestle with to do Dragonborn interactions. So I'm going to put that down at the top of the list as being something to do. I'm going to go Dragonborn, and I'm going to put main quest down for that. That's something. And just to be clear, these aren't things that will be in Lucien version 1.7.0. We're just canvassing general ideas for the development of the mod in the future. So we'll see what we fancy. So no, I'm not considering commentary for the Marak follower mod because I'm not keen on splicing. I'm not keen on splicing dialogue. because I find it very, very unsatisfying. I'm never pleased with the results. And also, I'm keen to sort of stick to canon, as it were. And there are mods that are canon adjacent that add new characters without necessarily messing with the main story very much. But then there's mods like that, which is a fundamental change to the story that will be referred to in future games. And I don't want people, I'm always keen for people not to have to pick and choose which mods, to install to have different versions of canonical Lucien. I like the idea that you can download every mod for Lucien and you have there the canon story that will continue on then into future games and playthrough. Just for his general, within the wider Lucien multiverse connectivity thing, I like people to be able to say, okay, well, that's all of the stuff that's there, that is all canon, and it doesn't, we don't have some stuff that's questionably canon, it all just fits together. So I tend to steer clear of any interactions with any mod that are explicitly canon breaking, as it were. I'm just going to catch up with the chat here because it hasn't all updated on my laptop on the left-hand side. Oh, these are Sakura's cool mods. Recruit Aventus in the Dark Brotherhood. That's interesting. Delayed quest starts. That's a good idea. And the wielding sun spells. Yeah, that was a really cool immersive idea you were talking about last time. That's very cool. So anyway, Dragon Ball. We're gonna give this a title. I'm gonna give this a big title. By the way, can you see my screen? On my little preview, it's coming up as a black screen. Can you see? Yeah, you can see. That's good. Okay. It's obviously just not updating on my laptop. There you go. Yes, it is working now. Yeah, very good. Good stuff. Okay, so this is Lucien cool stuff ideas. So we're just generally... Now, another thing that I personally want to do is interactions with Opus Glass. Opus Glass's creature mods. Because I have always been a massive fan of Opus Glass's work. I think their creature mods are really high quality, and they're also quite small. So I think these are really good patches for me to do in the same line as the Creation Club patches we've been doing. Just some little ESL patches just to give Lucien some comments about the creature mods and the mini quests that they add. They're not like marked quests, but they're mini sort of discovery kind of events. And it would be nice to just to integrate those in a little bit more. So that's something that I would personally like to do. Now, I am not... So, as a rule, before responding to BD Gaming and generally responding to the rest of you guys, I don't comment about which mods, which follower mods I'm planning or not planning on adding interactions with. And the reason for that is that when you're collaborating with other people, with other mod authors, there's a lot of moving parts there. There's a lot of schedules that need aligning, and there's sort of creative visions that need aligning. And very often one finds you can start out intending to do collaborations and then they might fall through for one reason or another. They might never actually happen. And it's very important to me not to announce this sort of stuff ahead of time and then have people be disappointed if it doesn't fall through. I never want to have to unannounce something. If I announce something, it's gonna happen. I mean, in the case of Lucien the Dragonborn Season 2, for instance, I announced it and I didn't manage it in time and it's now on the back burner, but it's very much something that I still plan on doing. But I can only make that kind of decision when I'm the one who's fully in control of something. So when I'm working with other people, I'm no longer fully in control. It's a collaborative thing, and that's where I can no longer confidently announce anything for another mod. So I don't want to start confirming or denying which follower mods I'm going to do interactions with, apart from the fact that I generally am keen to do more interactions with more follower mods. That's something I'm always open to when I have the time to do it. But I'm not gonna get into that. What I can say is that Inigo interactions are done. They are the full product that's there in the game. It's the biggest interaction between any two mods. Certainly it was at the time. It was the biggest interaction between any two mods that Gary and I had ever heard of. I don't know whether some of the more recent mods like Lucifer and Remiel and Zelzaz, I don't know whether their interactions they've got going on have yet become bigger than the Lucien Inigo ones. Maybe they have. They probably, to be honest, with the level of detail of some of the things I've seen, I wouldn't be at all surprised if they are now bigger. But certainly we have a massive set of interactions between Lucien and Inigo. And Gary is very much getting on with all his own stuff. He's swamped with all his own work and his real life stuff, let alone Inigo version 3. So we're not going to try and push that any further than it already is. I think it's already plenty. Well, there you go. Nunes answered the question. If Zelzaz and Remiel have more than 1,000 lines, then that does beat what Gary and I have for Lucien and Inigo. So there you go. That is a lot of dialogue. So, but anyway, point is, there's a lot there. It's certainly the biggest Lucien interaction with another mod. So we're not gonna necessarily revisit that anytime soon. But other stuff we'd like to do. I mean, this is your opportunity, really, guys, to just throw ideas at me. Please don't be offended if I don't run with them. You know, I'm not going to necessarily agree or accept to do everything, but I'm open to suggestions, really, stuff that you'd like to see. Now, one thing that's always requested of me is I know people are keen on having more opportunities for conversation with Lucien. So interactive conversations where you get the opportunity to sort of talk back to, rather than him just monologuing, sort of scenes where you get to sort of get to know each other a little bit more. And that's something that I'm keen to do more stuff for. So I'm going to put that on the list. More Lucien/player conversations. Okay, and now I'm gonna break this down a little bit just for a bit of clarity, because I think this would make sense. So we're gonna go short term for stuff that I could reasonably do quickly, and I'm gonna put nebulous future. So we're gonna have nebulous future for things that we will get around to at some point, but will be very long time away. And that's where these ideas, I think it's worth it, because people are going to suggest these, as we've just had, and I think it's important just to get this down in the list. So obviously, yes, we'd like to do Thieves Guild and Dark Brotherhood at some point, but because of the whole morality element of that, those are absolutely massive. I'm also going to put Dawn Guard down there. Because of the branching paths, the morality element, those are absolutely massive, complicated things to set up, and they're not things that I'm focusing on as being. They're not things that will be quick for me to do. So I'm going to sort of push those down the road a bit further. But they are things I plan on covering every quest in Skyrim. You know, this isn't me forming a list of the things that I will do. This is just sort of canvassing for ideas. But yeah, these are things I would like to do. But yeah, those are things for the far future. Right, okay, so Nuna said commentary on some of the Thainship quests. Now that's a good idea. That's some small scale stuff that could be quite fun to do. And perhaps we could have, so Thane quest, or just generally Thane comments. So we could have quests for each of the Thainship and maybe give Lucien some kind of awareness of you becoming Thane of everywhere. So maybe like bonus comment, congrats, you're Thane of everywhere, kind of thing, to sort of reward you a bit for, or to recognize if you've got all of it, if you've done all of the ones. Yeah, there are other divine quests, that's true. Other divine quests. There's stuff for Debella and for Mara, sure. As I say, I'm not keen to do any more spliced dialogue, BD Gaming, regarding you saying more lines with Lydia or other characters in the base game. It's not really something I'd like to pursue anymore. It's something that's very time-consuming and never produces results that I particularly like. So I'm not going to actively push further down that road anymore. Bray, what do you mean you'd love to talk to Lucien about food? Can you expand on that a little bit more? What sort of thing are you talking about there? So yeah, lots of positive reaction towards conversations with Lucien. We've already got quite a bit of lore about the Daedra and the Divine's Relentless Zen, so I don't think we necessarily need more separate lore dumps, as it were, outside of the Divine and Daedric quests. I think that would be the place to put that sort of thing in. Just generally smaller side quests, as Miskatonic says. In my time of need, missing in action, etc. And I should put at the top here, obviously, you guys might already be aware of it, but I'm going to put Beyond Skyrim Rumor Patch right at the top of the list there. Because because that's what we're currently actively pursuing. Willow's interested in Winter Sun interactions. I'm going to pop that down here as a sort of... Or maybe I'll pop it... Let's make a new category now. For maybe. These are things we may consider later on. Hang on. I want these bullet points to line up. There you go. Right. We're going to go Winter Sun down there. That's something I might consider, because I have used Winter Sun before, and it's a very well-made mod. So that could be interesting. Also, Nebu's Future, I'm going to put Legacy of the Dragonborn before people start saying it. Right, sorry, I'm quite far behind in the chat, but I'm working through it all in order. Cyan says, I would love commentary on if you give him Daedric weapons to use, if they aren't already there. I don't think we do have commentary on Daedric weapons. And you're right, that could be something, just a few throwaway lines about that, just indicating some awareness of what they are, might be worth mentioning. So, yeah, there is the Markarth questline. There's the Sidna Mine questline. I'm going to pop that down here. Sidna Mine. Because, yes, he wouldn't go to prison with you. It's a... I don't really enjoy that questline myself. I don't think anyone really enjoys that questline. Maybe they do. Maybe there are fans out there of that quest. I spelled that wrong. Maybe there are Forsworn Conspiracy fans. But personally, it always stresses me out. But maybe it would be one to think about. So yeah, generally, people are keen. I know people want the Daedric quests. Again, because of the morality element, I'm going to pop them down here. Okay, so Rise in the East. Rise in the East, is that the Vampire Cure quest, or is that something else? Not sure what Rise in the East is. Can you elaborate? But yes, of course, vampirism awareness would be something in the nebulous future. No, Lucien can't go to Sovereign Guard, but you can tell him a little bit about it afterwards, which is as far as I want to go with it. Frostflow Lighthouse quest commentary. Isn't that quest is Lights Out, which is another very morally dubious one. I might pop that, that's a fairly... I'll add that under the smaller side quests. Willow wants interactions with a Cat's Life mod. I'll put that down as a maybe. And I'm going to put cat mods in general, because there are several of them. Yeah, Check says interesting NPCs. I'm going to put that on the nebulous future. Because again, it's something I'd like to think about, but it's a very big job. And it's quite far off. Now, when we don't even need to put that. I'll put that on the list, obviously. Bug fixes. Yeah, obviously there will be bug fixes in the new version. I'm very aware that some of the names are mixed up, and that's definitely something I'm going to go through. Thank you so much for the sub, Mark. That's really kind of you. Thank you so much for sticking around for 7 months. That's very lovely of you. Thank you. Okay, Civil War commentary again. I'm going to pop on the nebulous future. To be honest, I'm looking for slightly more... surprising ideas. So I'm looking for suggestions of things I might not necessarily have thought of here. So it's not really going to blow my mind to have suggestions of the major quest lines of Skyrim, because obviously I am already aware of those as things that I would like to think about at some point. But the more of the niche suggestions are more specifically interesting to me. So Nuna says Pieces of the Past. Yeah, so the Daedra quests, sure. We'll get round to at some point. Right, I've just caught up with the commentary with people talking about they like the Forsworn Conspiracy. Fine, I knew there would be people out there. I knew there were people who did like them. I just don't. Do we have any commentary on the cause yet? Okay, so that's something I'd like to, because the Creation Club stuff I always enjoy doing. More Creation Club stuff. And I'm going to go especially the cause and Ghosts of the Tribunal, because those are the really major ones with lots of lore stuff that'd be really interesting to dive into. Rise in the East is the East... I really am behind in the chat. Sorry, working through still. Rise in the East is the East Empire Company quest. Okay, with pirates. I don't think I've ever played that. That's cool, though, MMX, about your mod. Cool stuff. Lots of ghosts. I'm sure they're handy in a pinch. Yes, Scarlett's just remembered about the Moon Path to Elsewhere patch. Yes, that does already exist. Lights Out and Frostflow Lighthouse are two different things. I'm getting them confused. Okay, what's the Frostflow Lighthouse? What happens in that one? Rise in the East. You sail to a far-off island together with the East Empire Company to fight pirates. Right, I've never heard of that. Let's stick that on there. Small comment on city overhauls on how it's not like it used to be. So I wouldn't do that kind of thing, Gremlin, because it draws attention to the existence of a mod. And I think to draw, you know, that's unimmersive to me. To highlight the fact that you have a mod installed in a non-lore friendly way, just purely that's something that isn't something that Lucien would realistically have any reason to talk about. He hasn't been there before. He doesn't know that, and there's no reason it would have changed. That's a aesthetic decision on the part of the player and the modder. So that, I think, would be unimmersive to draw attention to. So I wouldn't do that. Okay, family killed by the Falmer. Right, fine. Put the husband to rest according to his wishes and avenge them. Fine. Okay, I got it. Oh, should I call you Willow instead of Scarlet? Apologies for that. I will try and remember that in the future. Shout out from Cyan. Thank you, Ms. Catonic, for gifting me a sub. So I'm not keen to do any dialogue about drugs, personally, Relentless Sen. That's not really my vibe. So I'd rather just not address that one. I haven't yet played the cause, Willow. I'm in my current playthrough, we are not nearly a high enough level to have unlocked that yet. So I haven't played it yet. But when I play it, I will then do some commentary on it. Spider creation thing on Solstheim. Do you know, there is, and Lucien could talk about the different spiders. Because I think they would be interesting to him. Yep, there's the Ethereum Forge for sure. I'll put that on the less nebulous future because that's easier for me to do than the main Dawnguard stuff. Does Lucien acknowledge your adopted children in any way? He doesn't. I have no idea how I would do that technically. I'll have to look at mods like Inigo and Kaiden to see how they do it. But adopted children, and I'm going to put acknowledgement. I don't want conversations because that's splicing stuff, but acknowledgement might be fun. I'll put a question mark next to that one. Yeah, so that's what I'm talking about with these conversations, Cthulhu. More Lucien player conversations. So meaning of life kind of stuff. Sure, general. This is general stuff. More sort of general conversations to have. Yep, so we've already talked about the Aedra quest, the divine quests there. So that would cover the Book of Love, Mark. Kagramez / resonance gems. Can't remember what they are. Can you give me a bit more background for that, Misa? Blackreach Dragon. That could be a very easy throwaway one-off line just to comment on. Oh my word, there was a dragon up in the sun. That could be fun. Kagramez and Solstheim, the Dwemer room where you have to find the gems and go through trials. Can't remember it at all. But maybe we'll play it soon. Side quest where you fight guardian animals for the old version Kinnereth of the old Nordic faith. Yeah, so that would be under the divine quests. Inigo recognized child is here plus we're in a player home equals this is PC's adopted kid. Yeah, so it's the child is here thing I'm not sure how I would do. So that's what I'd have to find out. Solstheim Pirate Skyrim Treasure Hunt. That is a quest. Could embrace the pirate kind of thing. Solstheim Pirate Skyrim Treasure Hunt. Fast. Because that could be fun. Lucien does already have some Blackreach commentary, yeah. Does Lucien react to the crashed airship on Solstheim? There's a crashed airship on Solstheim? That's news. Crashed airship on Solstheim. Is that a thing? So no, I wouldn't try and do something like Lucien playing hide and seek with the kids around Skyrim. That I like to keep Lucien lightweight. I like to keep it non-invasive to the main world. I like him to lightly comment on things. I don't like him to mess with things because that's where you start actually introducing incompatibilities and complexity and breaking things. So I'm not keen to do that. But it's a fun idea, but it's not on my thing. Okay, there you go. Crashed airship on Solstheim. It's upside down, so it's a bit tough to recognize it as a ship if you don't know what it is. We can look that up. Does Lucien have any comments on Arniel's Endeavour quest? Is that the one which features Keening? Gives me memories of reactions to in-game Easter eggs like Notched Pickaxe or Pac-Man. We could maybe do... Okay, we wouldn't do all of them because I wouldn't want it to be too... I don't want to make things unimmersive. But certainly the pickaxe. I might go Easter eggs, e.g. Notched Pickaxe. How do you spell pickaxe? Pickaxe. Is it pickaxe? No. Pickaxe. I think pickaxe, when it's just like that, is the programming language to program a picture. Right, yes, Keening. Okay, I'm going to put that on there. Because that is lore. Does Lucien have lines for the Daedra pirate quest in the mid with the Daedric hand and the rings you have to put them on? No, because I've never done it. What's that called? It's the, isn't it the something forge? The Atronach forge? I've never really messed with that. Nope, none of these are cutting room floor quests to my knowledge. Because I wouldn't want to mess around with that necessarily. Just at the moment. And so came the tongues on that terrible day. Steadfast as winter, they entered the fray. And anyway, if we did do Arniel's Endeavour with Keening, I think that leads on to Creation Club. What are they called? Sunder and the other one. Wraithguard. Velexan, Velexane, yeah, something like that, isn't he? He's a Dremora pirate. I love the idea of a Daedra pirate. It's very metal to be both a pirate and a demon. I don't think I've spelled Stalrim right there, have I? I always spell that wrong. I try and spell it like Stallman, who is one of the crazy scientists in Doctor Who, specifically in the third Doctor John Pertwee episode Inferno. But I think Stalrim doesn't have the H on the other side. Maybe not. I can't remember. Yeah, Stalchrim. It's like that. That's more like it, isn't it? The Miskatonic says. Cool. Goodo. Okay, so there are some ideas out of here that have particularly caught my fancy. I like the Solstheim spiders thing. These are just things that I think I'll find particularly fun to implement. The Black Reach Dragon. I like the crashed airship on Solstheim. I'll have to find out about what that is. Have him geek out about that. We could maybe do... I like the idea of doing a couple of the Easter eggs. Does sound of kind of fun. Just for a bit more general world awareness. That would be nice to have. And obviously we do want more Lucien player conversations. I know that's something that people really want. And it is something that would be a good idea to develop his character a little bit more. To have some more deep and meaningful combos that you can have with him. Under some, I don't know, circumstances where it's like, where you're safe and where it's an appropriate place to have a DMC. So you're not actually, you know, in the middle of a dungeon or something like that. Might help answer some of people's questions about him as well that come up from time to time. Give the opportunity to ask him some things. I'm always keen to make that a situation where giving you opportunity to ask him different things rather than specifically giving him the opportunity to ask you too many things. And the reason I don't... Because I always find as soon as you start putting words in the player's mouth, you start messing around with people's immersion. Because unless you manage to cover every possible option with enough different ways of saying things, you risk not having an option for particular players. And I don't want to alienate people who don't have a character who would say any of the particular things on the list. So I think it's important to keep it vague. I think that's my number one rule for writing player dialogue, is always keep it vague, keep it short. Keep it really short and sort of open-ended. Whereas with Lucien, I can get really specific. So I wouldn't want to give the player the opportunity to say, oh yeah, I grew up in X village and my parents died when I was small or something. You know, I don't want to give specific player backstory because that gets too difficult to do. But some general chats, I think, would be nice to have going on there. Okay, cool. Lucien can drop down there. What else could we have that could be fun? I'm just going to snooze the ad break because we're only going to go on for another few minutes. Yeah, Noon has put that well. Yeah, it's tricky when you have like, oh, what do you think about X? And all the other options are some form of I like X, with the only other option being I don't care about the alphabet at all. Yeah, exactly. Letting the player develop on the options that you give them whilst giving Lucien a stronger response is always good. What do you mean by letting the player develop on the options that you give them? Do you mean like in their head, letting them develop their own options in their head? Because I find that's what players usually do, particularly when you watch people streaming. If you're given only a very short sentence, they'll usually make up their own dialogue, which elaborates a bit more specific to them. And I feel like a lot of players do that in their head. Generally, when they're playing, the player dialogue tends to be a little guide, like a little writing prompt for them, and they elaborate from there. That's certainly how I tend to play, is even if I don't say it out loud, I sort of imagine the dialogue. I imagine, I don't know, or it's more of a feeling, really. but you sort of gloss over that. You don't necessarily think of saying specifically those words. Maybe you do. I don't know. Anyway, we've got a good selection of ideas in here of some stuff to do. One thing I would like to do, which I'll put more under the Nebula's Future section, but I'd like to have a bit more dialogue gated on approval / bravery, because we have those stats and I would like to use them a little bit more, just to make Lucien a little bit more dynamic and responsive to the choices that you've made. And I'm gonna put that arrow onto more dialogue specific to a, so more playthrough specific dialogue. So more dialogue that's specifically gated on the choices you make in a particular playthrough to allow Lucien to develop a little bit. I'm not really sure what I'd want to do with that exactly, but it would be fun to have him be have a few more things that are slightly different when you start a new playthrough and you do a different thing. Maybe I'm always reluctant to do too much race-based dialogue necessarily, but I don't know. Maybe there's something I can do just to make change things up a little bit, depending on the decisions that you make when you're creating your character and as you play the game. Obviously, we've got the really big ones like Dawn Guard and Dark Brotherhood that are kind of relationship defining. But yeah. I'm going to put in the word dynamic there, if I can spell it. More playthrough specific dynamic dialogue. Right, there we go. That was a very short stream. I'm sorry about that. It's fairly unavoidable. But I am now going to go away on holiday. So, as I say, I will be back. And when I come back from my holiday, I will be moving house straight away. So there's a little bit of a period there when I'm moving house where I won't have like the Wi-Fi and everything set up for a stream. So I'll have to confirm, but my next stream will probably be either on the 1st of September or on the 3rd of September. Either the Thursday or the Saturday. And I'll confirm that in the Discord, and I'll probably pop it on Twitter and things too, to make people clear. And I'll update the stream schedule to reflect that. It might more realistically be the 3rd rather than the 1st. But yeah, so you are going to have to make do without my nonsense for a couple of weeks. I've queued up some YouTube videos to release every Wednesday in the meantime, so there'll be more Lucien videos on the 18th, the 25th, and the 1st. And I might... Oh, thank you so much for the bits, Teeth. That's really kind of you. I might be... I won't be very active online at all during that time because I think it's important to sort of focus in on spending that time with my family and to disconnect a little bit. But I might be around a little bit on the Discord from time to time. And I might be able to respond to a few comments and things when I get the opportunity to. But generally, I'll be a bit quiet. Don't let that stress you out. Don't assume that something's happened to me or anything like that. It's just... yeah, I'm just gonna have a couple of weeks a bit more disconnected from the internet, and then I'll be back to it. And we've got lots more stuff to do when I'm back. Things that I'm particularly keen to do is do the next tutorial video for the tutorial series, and get this Beyond Skyrim Bruma patch finished. Not finished because it's not going to be finished for a very, very long time, but get it to a version 1 release state because that's something we'd like to incrementally develop over time. So I'd like to get a version 1 of the Beyond Skyrim interaction patch sort of done in the next few months. I'd like to release it, you know, at some... I can't, you know, don't hold me to that release date, but I'd like to be able to release something for it soon because that will be fun. And we will, excuse me, we will see where we go from there. Okay, I had better go because I've got to dash off because I've got so much to do. It's crazy. I have a very packed schedule at the moment. But we're going to raid Pathetic Wolf, who is currently playing Skyrim. He has a very chill vibe with his streams. He's a very nice chap. I think you'll enjoy. So we're going to give him a raid. wish him a marvelous day and all of that. And yeah, the rest of you, you know, well, I say the rest of you, like everyone, stay marvelous. Look after yourselves over the next couple of weeks. Treat yourselves to nice things. Be wonderful to each other and yourselves. Drink enough water. And yeah, I can't wait to see you again really soon. Okay, thank you for watching, everyone. Thank you. Raiding now and ending the stream. Bye, everyone. See you in a couple of weeks. Bye.